Hey beautiful people, this is Little Swan here, and today I'll be taking you through how to create an altar in your home. First of all, what is an altar? I feel like it's self-explanatory, but it's probably not. I'll assume that none of you have ever created your own altar or maybe even seen an altar, but if you come from any kind of Christian or religious backgrounds, if you've been in if you visited a church, you know what an altar is. It's basically a structure upon which offerings are made, usually to a specific deity or saint, and it can be really large and ornate, or it can be really small, and it's something you can actually create in your home. I know for some religions, people actually have a little room, like a little office or even like a small closet that they create kind of like a home temple in. This is really common in India. You can do it in your home. It's super easy. For me, an altar is a sacred space that I create in my home, usually in my bedroom or somewhere that has natural light coming in, preferably facing north or east, the direction where the sun rises, or north, which represents the elders and the earth. And it is where I come to meditate, to pray, to journal, or to create a small little ceremony. So it's basically a sacred container that you create within your own home to be used as you wish for spiritual purposes. Most importantly, it's just a place that you can come to really connect with yourself and with that which is greater than you. I think especially during the past year with the pandemic going on, a lot of people at some point were in isolation or still are, and are really physically distanced from their loved ones, family, friends, grandparents, relations, and aren't able to go visit their church or their mosque or their temple, or can't even get out to a national park or a park because they're closed, and have that sense of connection with the Mother Earth or with the Creator. And I know that's really important for a lot of people. I know for me, I have been traveling the last 4 years pretty much full time, and during those years I've had a lot of space and freedom to go out into nature and create ceremony and create medicine wheels beneath a full moon or a new moon and feel really connected to the earth and nature and the spirits. Also to be able to go to these really incredible epic ruins in Greece and India, in the UK, and to go to places like Chalice-Well and Glastonbury, visiting places like La Sagrada Familia and various cathedrals and Orthodox churches all around Europe and all around the world, and to just be able to be in a place of worship and prayer and to feel really connected to the divine and that which is greater than me, and to be able to make offerings there and light candles. I'm not able to do that at the moment. Obviously, I can't travel right now. So basically, I'm not able to do the devotional work that I'm used to doing right now because of what's going on in the world in 2020. So it's been really helpful for me to have an altar and create a sacred space in my home. And it's just a way to keep up my spiritual practice when I can't travel or maybe go and do ceremony in the places I'd like to. It's filling your own cup, and it's self-nurturing and it's self-care, and it's yours. It's your place to just come and be you, and to pray or meditate, to cry, to journal, to dance, to stomp your feet and scream and rage. It's there for you. It's your space, and it's your way of connecting to spirit. So that's essentially what an altar is. That's why I have an altar, and I'm going to show you how to build your own altar in your home. But first I'm going to take you over to the altar that I have set up right now, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is my altar. As you can see, I've just built it on my window ledge, which is really great because I'm kneeling right now, and this is where I come to meditate in the morning. So it's really great. It's not anything big. It's not taking up a lot of space. I think preferably maybe in the future when I move, I will have a larger table where I'll set up like a really nice like blankets and cushions and have like a really well set up meditation space. But for right now, this is working just fine for me. The point is that it's here for me. So I typically work with what I call the goddess or the Great Mother, the divine feminine energies of the world and the cosmos. And specifically, I've been working with Kali, the Hindu goddess of destruction and creation, for several years. You've probably seen a photo of her. She looks quite terrifying, and that's because she is a fiercely protective mother goddess. And she looks scary because she's scaring off demons, which is great for me. So I've got a statue of her here. I like to have some sort of image of the goddess to see, like to have a visual of her, and to be able to make offerings to her symbolically. So yeah, she's just in the middle here. And then here's where I make my offerings. I like to bring flowers home if I go out for a walk. I've got some dried petals. This is some kind of rosemary varietal that I bound up, and sunflower leaves. And then I've got my little crystals here. They're pretty much all from India. And a little turtle and a moonstone here. And then I've got 2 oyster shells with candles. It's really beautiful. I think candles are essential when you're creating an altar. It creates really beautiful light, especially if you're meditating or doing work in the evening. And then I've got another little chalice that I put a candle in, and I put it just below here. I like to have that because I'm not facing east exactly. So when I'm meditating, it's nice to have a light to focus on. It kind of symbolizes the sun rising, and a new day, a new beginning. So I have that as well. So this is what my altar is at the moment. As you can see, it's very simple and very small, but it has a lot of meaning for me and objects and things that I feel spiritually connected to, and that's the most important thing. Okay, so first, before you start building your altar, you're going to want to find a space in your home or your bedroom that is somewhat private, that feels really good energetically to you. And if you find a place that's facing east so that you can meditate with the rising sun, or north to honor the elders and Mother Earth, that's fantastic, but it's not necessary. As long as the space feels good to you, like you can even find a little corner in your room, or you can use a desk as I'm using, and that's totally fine. It's whatever feels good to you and gives you the space and the privacy to meditate and pray and do whatever you need to do at your altar. I actually do like having an altar at my desk because I write and I paint and I do woven art, so it's nice to have that space right next to me to make the whole process feel sacred. It really feeds my creativity and my spirit when I'm in creative mode. So yeah, anywhere that feels good to you in your home or your bedroom is perfect. You might wish to designate your space even more by placing a beautiful altar cloth. This can be like a piece of silk fabric or velvet like this, in a color that resonates with you. Purple represents the crown chakra, so that's always really nice. As I mentioned in my previous video, red to me really represents the womb and our moon blood and chi. So yeah, so you can find anything you like, something that's been nicely decorated, maybe a piece like a scarf or a piece of fabric that you found during your travels. That all works, whatever looks good to you. I'm going to take a little circular night table doily that I wove a few months ago. I like that it's a circle because it reminds me of the medicine wheel, and I'm going to take that and place it over here. And as you would do a ceremony, you want the space to be as lovely and nice as possible because you are going to be connecting with spirit here, and you want to make it very special and sacred and put a lot of really good energy into it. So take the time to make it look just so, okay? Make it nice and beautiful so that when you, and very clean, and so that when you come here, you're filled with a sense of peace and sacredness, and that feeling of when you walk into a really beautiful cathedral or temple and just being totally awe-inspired. That's kind of what you want to bring into your altar. Even if it's just really simple to start with, that's a really good intention to have. So the third thing to do is to find an object or an illustration or a photograph that represents the divine or the god or goddess or creator or universe to you, whatever you feel represents spirit to you, you can place at the center or near the back of your altar. It just gives you a point of focus. That's what I find. I find it's really helpful to have a point of focus when I am at my altar meditating or in ceremony. I think that's super important. And it also gives you a point of reference when you're making offerings or burning a smoke or something like that. So I have my Kali statue over on my other altar, but I also have some illustrations that I really love to use and have used at other times. So this one is an illustration I got in Bali. I love it because it's a grandmother and it reminds me of my female ancestors, so I love having this one. And it is by @whitemagicartist, and that's the Instagram handle, but I'll put that below in the comments so you can find their art. But I love this one so much. It just like warms my heart. It makes me feel held by a grandmother. And then I've also got an illustration of Venus. I think it was Michelangelo. I really hope it was. Birth of Venus. Yeah, I've worked with Aphrodite, Venus a bit, especially when I was in Greece last year, so I think that's quite beautiful. Represents the feminine beautifully, so it's kind of like the maiden, mother, and the elder, so those are really nice. I also have this image that I got. It's actually a moon card, so you can track your periods. An image of the womb. I do a lot of work around moon time and menstruation, and I love any kind of symbology of the womb and of bleeding, so I think this one's a really nice one as well. But today I'm going to use the grandmother because that one's my favorite. I'm just going to take a photo frame which has a photo in it already to hold this up. We'll do it like that. So simple. If you have a frame and you want to frame the image that you're using, that's fantastic. But for the sake of time, and because this is just a temporary altar, I'm just going to leave it as is. And then the next thing is, again, if you watched my last video, it's very important to have something, some kind of resin or herb or flower to smoke with. This helps to clear the energy around your altar and in the room, in that space, and to call in the good spirits, your guides, your ancestors, whatever beings that you're working with and praying to. I typically use sage. I believe this is white sage. I also talked about the controversy around that in my last video. So from now on, I'm only going to be buying green sage that comes from Europe, the Mediterranean, and I won't be buying Palo Santo anymore just because it's really difficult right now to know how to source it ethically. So I'm just going to stick with green sage. If it's gifted to you, I think that's okay. I think that one of the issues with using white sage is that it's being appropriated without knowing its historical use and its traditional and cultural significance to Indigenous North American peoples. And it's being over-harvested for profit. So those are the issues with white sage, and I think it's the same for Palo Santo. I'll list links to articles about that below. There's so many other great burnables that you can use. I really love a blend of rose and mint and juniper, I believe it is. It's really beautiful. You can also use resins like frankincense and myrrh. You can burn those on a charcoal disc. Just make sure your room's really well ventilated. So I just think it's really important because you want to be really clear about what kind of energy you're inviting into your sacred space. So a burnable is a must for me. I would just recommend being aware of what kind of burnable you're using, where it comes from, and how it's sourced. This is not for ambiance, this is medicine. I think it's really important to make that clear. So just be aware of that. So you have your burnable, something to smoke with and clear this energy with. You can use incense as well. Incense is great. Just make sure you have some kind of holder to catch the ashen. And that's all good. Just do what feels right for you and be as culturally and socially conscious as possible. Oh yes, I like to put my burnable in a power shell. I got this from New Zealand. Okay, so at this point we've gathered the main components. We've got our sacred space in our home and our bedroom. We've got a beautiful altar cloth or something to further mark and symbolize the space. We've got a image or object to represent the divine that feels good for us, whether we're spiritual or religious, it doesn't matter. It's whatever feels good for you. And we've also got some kind of sacred smoke that is appropriate for us. And then at this point we can just decorate. Candles are very important to have. I like to have 3 candles because they represent the triple aspect goddess, so the maiden, mother, and crone. So I usually set them up, maybe one here, and one here, and one here. And this makes it also really easy to light up whatever you're burning safely. Be very mindful of using fire in your home or anywhere for that matter. So candles are really great, especially in the evening. Really lights up the space, and then you can dim the lights elsewhere and it just makes it feel really beautiful. So we've got that, and then whatever other objects or things that feel really sacred to you, you can then put them on the altar and decorate it and make it look really, really beautiful. Very holy and sacred. I've got some crystals, some amethyst that I'm going to put over here. I might do it like this. And then I really love seashells. I'm such a mermaid. I feel so connected to the ocean, probably because I'm very sensitive and emotionally in tune. I love everything about the ocean. And I collect shells pretty much from every country that I go to, and I also collect rocks, but I bought these in Croatia and I love them so much. So I'm going to put them on here as well. And you can just reorganize and move things around as you like. Whatever creates a sense of you'll know when things look right, when everything is found its place. And then I've also got a really nice slab of crystal quartz, so I might actually just put that there in the middle. I've also got a feather. Feather is really nice for moving the smoke around once you've got it going. I also really like to incorporate the elements of all 4 sacred directions. So east is air, south is fire, west is water, and north is earth. So I kind of have a little bit of everything. I've got my smoke and my feather to represent the east. I have my candles to represent the south, fire. I've got my seashells, which represents water, and then I've got my elder here, which represents the north. North is the, on the medicine wheel, north is kind of the last direction where you're coming to old age and completing your life cycle, and it represents your ancestors, the elders, and Mother Earth. So I've incorporated all of the 4 directions in my altar, which for me is really important. And for you might not be so significant. It's really whatever feels good for you. And then I always make offerings at my altar because that is feeding your connection to the spirit world. It's really important to make offerings before you ask for something or take something from spirit or from nature. For me, I love to just collect flowers and make an offering, and it's all about the feeling. You send it off with your love and compassion. This is really a place for you to be authentic. So if you're feeling really loving, offer that love. If you're feeling really sad, cry. If you're feeling really elated and happy, laugh and dance. Or if you're really angry, you can stomp your feet in a circle and scream into a pillow or scream out loud, and do whatever you need to do, because this is your sacred space. This is where you come to be you and connect with yourself and the divine, to create that sense of faith in something greater than yourself, just for you to really feel nurtured and connected. So just put that there. And I think that's basically it. I think I covered everything. And as I've said before, if you belong to a certain religion, you can dedicate this altar to it doesn't really matter. Like, if you are from a Christian background and you feel really connected with Mother Mary or Mary Magdalene, you can have an image of her. Or it can be totally the other way. If you're really into your spirituality, you're really into worshiping the god or the goddess, you can have images of them, a particular deity. Like, I often pray to Kali. She's the goddess that I work with most. It can be very occult if you like. It can be very witchy. It's really whatever feels good to you and makes you feel safe and sacred and makes you feel connected to spirit. Again, if you've been feeling really far away from loved ones and really sad and feeling quite alone, this is a really beautiful way for you to feel like you are surrounded by love and surrounded by beings that love you. I think a lot of powers that be in the world want us to believe that we're alone, but the truth is we're never alone. We have all these spirits and these angels and these guides around us, here to support us on our journeys and our healing. We've got our ancestors around us. We're never really alone. And this coming to your altar is just a reminder that you are totally connected to all, connected to the divine, and that you have loving beings all around you. So I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope you found this video helpful, and I will see you all soon. Bright blessings.